From the creator of Dragon Quest, questioning the reasonings behind censorship of the Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake, to former Shonen Jump editor calling America ridiculous, and Elon Musk tweeting about DEI. Square Enix coming into fire with the most recent changes to the Dragon Quest series, as their own developers express how annoyed they are with the DEI agenda and questioning who is even really wanting these changes to begin with. Hello, my name is Shane Gamez. I talk about stuff that people get mad about. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back and get ready to be disappointed. During the 2024 Tokyo Game Show, an interview from former Shonen Jump editor-in-chief Kazuhiko Torishima and Dragon Quest creator Yuji Horii revealed some shocking truths about DEI, censorship, and how Japanese developers feel about the regulations put on them by America. Now, both of these guys are veterans in the industry of manga, anime, and games. Kazuhiko Torishima, on the left, is the former editor-in-chief of Shonen Jump magazine from 1996 to 2001, with very deep ties to Akira Toriyama. Torishima was the editor for the run of Dr. Slump, a great manga and anime, and is definitely worth a watch, and the first half of Dragon Ball. Torishima's influence was massive, to say the least. It was Torishima who convinced Akira Toriyama to make Horii the main character of Dr. Slump over Senbei Norimaki. I can't even imagine a world where Horii isn't the main character. Akira Toriyama himself agreed that these changes were much better. Akira Toriyama then would go on to put Torishima into the manga by creating a character using an anagram of Torishima's name, Dr. Mashirado, which is an evil scientist and rival to Senbei Norimaki. Keep in mind, Dr. Slump was created in 1980, and by 1982 it made Akira Toriyama a millionaire, long before the creation of Dragon Ball in 1984. The amount of respect Akira Toriyama has for Torishima can't be stated enough. Without his changes, Dr. Slump may have never been the success it is today, and Akira Toriyama may have never gotten the chance to create Dragon Ball. On the right, we have Yuji Horii, the creator of the Dragon Quest series. Yuji Horii has basically worked on all Dragon Quest games in some capacity in one way or another, from being the game designer to director. His involvement isn't just with the main Dragon Quest series, but he involves himself with the entire Dragon Quest brand itself. Dragon Quest is extremely important to him, and as it should be since he created it. Needless to say, these are the top guys to listen to about the game Dragon Quest. And unfortunately, Akira Toriyama is no longer here to speak. We can assume these two would have Akira Toriyama's best interests at heart. The interviewer would ask some questions about the most recent controversies. And for those who are not up to date with the latest news about Dragon Quest, I made a video about the short history regarding Dragon Quest III and the remakes that covers all the censorship and details regarding the changes made to the series. I encourage everyone to watch that to be up to date with the most current changes regarding the game that prompted these questions in the interview. Link down below. The interviewer would ask about the recent changes to the clothing and attire, specifically about the main hero of the game, to which Yuji Horii, creator of Dragon Quest, would go on to reply, yeah, there are various regulations in place. Apparently, it's not allowed to show too much skin. I really don't understand that either. If there's too much exposure, the age rating goes up. It means we won't be able to sell it as an all ages product. Now, this is a talking point that a lot of publishers, in my opinion, try to convince you of. I did spend some time in gaming journalism for a few years. However, long ago, in a time period far, far away, I worked in the gaming stores from Game Crazy to managing GameStop on and off for about 11 years. I'll be the first to tell you that children play games like Grand Theft Auto, God of War, and if you really want to get up to date with today's youth, they just turn on Twitch and they watch far far worse things easily and not just watch the content that's not suited for them, but also engage with that content by donating and going to their OF sites. The interviewer then would go on to ask about how is it working with the regulations that cause them to make changes like this. Then Kazuhiko Torishima would chime in, as if anyone who would know what it means to work with America and localizing content from Japan, it would be Torishima. He said, under the name of compliance, it's like an absolute god, an evil disguised as good. There's not such a thing as content that doesn't make everyone uncomfortable, because beauty and ugliness, good and evil, are different for everyone. Well put. He is correct. I've said it many times. DEI is the opposite of creativity. They try to convince you that it's to include more people, but all it does is remove those who think outside the box and stop artists from making what's in their heart. Now, Torishima went on to fully express his opinion on the matter. He goes on to say, there are things that are absolutely must not be done. As long as you follow those, you are free to do the rest. There are religious concepts from the West, especially in America, that influence their approach to sex education. Their approach to compliance is really narrow-minded. When selling manga in America, everything had to be categorized by groups. For Shonen Jump manga, they couldn't be sold unless they were rated for ages 13 and up because the risk of lawsuits. The company also had to get insurance. Doing business with such a ridiculous country is really frustrating. Because of that, Japan gets negatively influenced. Wow, this is a little embarrassing. As an American, I have to agree. These DEI companies are speaking for people like me, and I assure you, I, and along with others, do not support censorship, and I do not support forcing artists to change their work, especially after it's been done for many, many years. Art should never be changed, and the only thing that should happen is increasing the age rating for games. This is what the ESRB was created for, and we should allow parents to make that choice. Yuji Horii would then go on to add, in Dragon Quest, you used to be able to choose between male and female main character, but now you can't choose between a man and a woman anymore. We have to label them as type 1 and type 2. I really wonder who is even complaining about this. Which, yes, I agree. Who is complaining about this? Why is it the change to include more people is to remove choice? You would think they would just add another option, like non-binary, before they remove choices. Choices that 99% of the entire world recognizes themselves as. Make no mistake, this is frustration coming from the creator of Dragon Quest and one of the biggest influences in Akira Toriyama's life. They are not happy and do not approve of the changes and complications that these DEI groups are imposing on the rest of the world, specifically the Japanese people. This interview would later gain a lot of publicity due to Elon Musk tweeting, "This is insane." Again, I have to agree with Elon here. This is getting out of hand. And what makes this more frustrating is Akira Toriyama can't defend himself. And so these companies like Square Enix is changing his work and trying to impose a fake DEI agenda on something that shouldn't even be touched. You're not honoring Akira Toriyama by touching his designs. All you're doing is being dishonorable and angering fans around the world. Even the creator of Dragon Quest and the editor for Akira agree that this is ridiculous and questions the true purpose of these efforts. The game has been added to the DEI Detected website, a site created to finding games that have been infected with DEI and putting them on the list to encourage gamers to not buy the game. Keep in mind, it was only a week ago from making this video that Square Enix had Sweet Baby Inc. remove its name from its list of clients on their site. Due to anything that Sweet Baby Inc. touches turns to ash. Take one of Square Enix's biggest projects into DEI, and companies like Sweet Baby Inc. Forspoken, a game that was supposed to be the next franchise that was going to change a generation, speaking like the story was going to be on the level of Metal Gear. The game's performance did so terribly that the studio Luminous Productions had to shut down. I am not kidding. A multiple $1 million game, the next AAA title, was so bad and no one played it, most of everyone who worked on it lost their jobs. It's moments like this that I am happy Japan is using AI to translate anime and manga. Japan needs to take their art and culture back. I say, just make what you want to make and ignore this DEI agenda that only appears to be on the internet with Twitter trolls and people so disconnected from reality. They rather praise men having relations with a bear than a girl in a skirt killing zombies. And if there's one thing that we can agree on, Akira Toriyama, you will be missed, and your work is truly inspiring. What do you guys think? How do you feel about the creator of Dragon Quest upset with the DEI and former editor-in-chief slamming the West about these ridiculous restrictions? Let me know down in the comments below. And those who stayed to the end, thank you so much for being here and watching. It means a lot to me, and the support you give me is truly outstanding. Stop by my Twitch at twitch.tv/D2Games. The link's in the description. Swing by and say hey. The community and I just hang out and play video games. I would be very happy to meet each one of you. Stay awesome. Have a beautiful night, and I'll see you in the next one. And for those wondering about my sound dampening techniques, I have upgraded massively with Yoshi and Nook. And these are my sound dampening buddies.